Me, Alice, and Eliza turn around to see a man standing in the room behind us. A man in a pinstripe suit, neatly tucking away his pocket watch. Oh my, where does the time go? It's been ages since I've seen you, Reginald. How have things been? He says with a wide smile, slowly stepping towards us. Damn it, just my luck. With the way things are going for me right now, he's probably here to collect. This is not the time, I thought to myself, staring at him, when suddenly Eliza jumps up on the table. Igorochi, she shouts, lifting one finger up beside her, twirling it around in a circle as a green light emanates from the tip of it. And just like that, one of her magical little bullet friends appears. Hold it right there, creepy guy. I don't know how you got in here, but this is a private meeting. No interlopers, Eliza shouts, sending a cross expression in the direction of the man in the pinstripe suit. Eliza, stop, I shouted, hurriedly, trying to make sure that this didn't go sour. Eliza, you don't want to do that. Trust me, we don't have to worry about it. Do you know this guy, Regiman? She said, looking at me with a disgruntled expression. Yeah, he's what you might call a business partner of mine. Someone that I've dealt with before. Now put away the magic spell. Trust me, it wouldn't do you any good anyways. And I'd like my house to stay the way it is. Eliza begrudgingly agreed, dropping her spell and stepping off of the table. I took a sigh of relief for the moment, before remembering that this could still go bad. If he's here to collect, I'm definitely in trouble. This is not the time for me to be disappearing on some errand for the man in the pinstripe suit. Hi, Mr. Pinstripe. How you been doing? Alice says with a cheery expression. It's been ages. Are things going well for you? Oh, my dear girl Alice. How I've missed that cheery expression of yours. Things are actually going quite well for me. Thank you for asking. People rarely do. It always simply tends to be about what they want. Thank you for the consideration. Most gracious of you. And as for you, Regiman, you don't have to worry. Our little arrangement will hold until a more apt time. Right now I'm here on, you could call it other business, he said, pulling out one of the extra chairs and taking a seat at the table. I'd like to cut a small bargain with you, if I could. Nothing serious, mind you. It's just at the moment I find myself in need of a touch of assistance. You need assistance with something? I said with a stunned expression. What in the world could he need help with? As I said, it's nothing to be worried about, nothing to concern your little heads. I'm sure you're quite busy. I've heard some things, Reginald. Very interesting things going on in your little world, and I don't want to bog that down. And I'm saving that little favor of yours for something much more important. You still haven't introduced yourself, Eliza said, taking her seat and looking over at the man in the pinstripe suit with a sour expression. Oh, you may call me whatever you like. It really doesn't matter. Just consider me a friend of Reginald's. Now, as I was saying, I find myself in a spot of trouble. Just a spot, you see. And I need somewhere to, what you might call, lay low. Only for a short time, mind you. I walked up, taking a seat at the table with everyone else. What in the world would you need to lay low from? I asked, still not quite believing it. There had to be more than this than he was telling us thus far. Well, quite simply, the man in the pinstripe suit replied. As of recent, I've grown a little bit bored, and I've been dilly-dallying around. Lollygagging, one might say. Things are always just so frustrating at work. Always something needing to be done. Every once in a while, I just like to relax. But the work is just endless. And my assistant has been putting some pressure on me. It was beginning to grow quite tedious to deal with her. Quite frankly, she was getting on my nerves. So I may have played a little prank of sorts. And cursed her. Just a little bit, you see. You cursed her, I said, still trying to grasp this situation. Yes, just a little one, he replied. Nothing dire. It's not as if I gave her leprosy or made her hair fall out. Turned her bones into gelatin. No, nothing of the sort. One would hardly even call it a curse. I mean, all I really did was summon a frog, which I may have also made immortal. And I also might have given that frog the ability to teleport at will, and quite possibly an insatiable desire to rest upon the top of her head. You see, that's not really harmful at all. I think it's quite humorous, actually, he said, beginning to chuckle quite loudly. His cackle was beginning to become familiar to me, like a hyena. But unfortunately, he said, as he finished his little laughter bit, she doesn't seem to have that much of a sense of humor about it. She's grown quite livid, and quite frankly, I simply don't wish to deal with it at this point in time. So I'm basically just avoiding her, for the time being. So what I would like from you, dear Reginald, is to simply allow me to keep you company here for a short time. Consider it a favor from a friend. And in exchange, if you allow this, I will reimburse you. Give you something equitable for the exchange. What do you say, Reginald? He said, smiling over at me, crossing one leg over the other and making himself a bit comfortable. You still haven't told me who you are, Eliza said, starting to look a bit upset. Don't worry about it, Eliza, I said, trying to think over his little proposition. This could be beneficial. I might not be able to get anything major from him, but this could definitely work to my advantage, I was thinking to myself, when suddenly I heard a growl from Eliza. Urgh! Tell me who he is, Reginald, she shouted, standing up in her seat and, with a twirl of her finger, summoning a very large cartoonish hammer. Right now! Your little game of secrets isn't fun. Who is he? Calm down, Eliza, I said, looking over at her as she glared angrily at me with that hammer in hand. As I said, he's just a business partner of mine, but the chances are you've probably heard of him. Have you ever heard those old stories about people who make deals with genies and otherworldly entities? Stories about people selling their soul for things. Money, power, fame, things like that. Well, this is the guy they're talking about when they tell those stories. He's basically the ultimate businessman, and one of the most powerful beings that I've ever heard of, at least, even in magic. He's basically untouchable. A man who can give you basically anything you want, so long as you have enough to pay for it. Eliza looked over at him with a puzzled expression, as if she was thinking something over. He doesn't look that impressive, Eliza said. He just looks like a creepy guy in a suit. The man in the pinstripe suit chuckled again. Oh, my dear Eliza, I assure you, truthfully, that's all I really am. Just a silly man in a suit, who cuts deals for mutual profit. Stories aside, I'm actually quite pleasant, though. But really, if you ever need something, don't be a stranger, young Eliza, he said, leaning forward a bit and clasping his hands on the table with a big grin. I shudder to think what Eliza might ask him for. That's just asking for trouble.